have a look.
Well, we're getting into this one, and it looks like Smitey Boy is indeed correct. It is going to be DeToNator running with that triple DPS. Let's see how Zonda's going to be able to deal with this one and the rest of the Flash Wolf side.
So Yoshiharu, I've talked about him being a fantastic D.Va player. He had some good play on Soldier last night, but I've got to say, it was acceptable. That was about it. But now DeToNator, they're getting an early lead again.
They just dive right on top of Zonda, take him out, but the rest of Flash Wolves are there to pick up the pieces and pick up these fallen parts. The support's just picking up a couple of kills themselves here. And K-Momo now getting in a very good position to get aggressive into the squishy line of DeToNator. But it's going to be Yoshiharu not playing that D.Va on the Soldier, picking out a couple for himself. Now K-Momo being forced back out of this fight here. And this first cap should be going in the way of DeToNator unless Flash Wolves can come up with something big here.
It's still going back and forth, and DeToNator, while they've got themselves actually on the point of getting the cap, in fact, actually those last few kills there are just actually going to seal it for them there. So actually, yes, DeToNator, now they're sitting nice and comfortable, entrenched on the point, with ultimates coming up soon. I mean, Anakin, he needs that Dragon Blade. That's going to be the biggest thing for them to hold on. Also, Yoshiharu, the benefit of running a triple DPS composition is that you have multiple very impactful ultimates. So Yoshiharu with that tactical visor won't have a nano boost to go with it, but not sure if he's even going to need it against a Tracer, against another Soldier. Surely he's going to be fine. There's no D.Va on the enemy team to block it out. He's going to have complete free reign.
Well, pulse bombs on both sides, looking to see if either of these can open it up, but Zonda opens this one up with that Helix rocket there. So Hate dropping down extremely low, gets taken out of this one as well. This is when DeToNator are definitely going to need to fall back here, as Flash will find the answer they were looking for, managed to push themselves and get themselves the cap there. So great stuff now coming out from Flash Wolves. DeToNator only getting themselves 37%.
Oh, DeToNator, that was a fight where you did have a bit of a lead there. You had more ultimates ready to go, just perhaps not a little bit, not aggressive enough. Now Flash Wolves go in, they don't commit any ultimates at all. They're now sitting on the point with 5 ultimates. Sound Barrier is still making its way up, and once that's ready, it's going to be very hard for DeToNator to actually come in and take control of the point once more. They have Anakin, they've got Tactical Visor shut down.
Coming through right there, it's going to be Yoshiharu committing his, but Zonda's is a lot stronger. Transcendence is now coming from both players here. Now Zonda up on this high ground, so hard to deal with. It's going to be Anakin using the Dragon Blade as well, but the rest of the side of DeToNator are just falling down here, and this is going to be an easy hold coming out from Flash Wolves, and they still have a lot of ultimates to work with, Smite.
And Zonda, I mean, with the way DeToNator's playing, Zonda pretty much doesn't have to move. He can just sit up there, just lay down the left clicks on DeToNator, and there's not much they can do about it. All they've got is Samurai D to jump up there. Anakin, sure, he can go up there as well, but doesn't have Dragon Blade, will just eventually be shut down. I mean, yes, he's getting challenged up here now, and this is what DeToNator needs to do. They need to get Zonda out of his comfort zone.
But he isn't too worried, it seems, as he manages to find that kill on Samurai D as he jumps up there. A lot of pressure being put onto Yoshiharu there as well. And where is this DeToNator side? They can't find a single opening here. They are starting to look like they can find the pieces to fix this problem on the high ground there, but as they start the fight, there's absolutely nothing they can do. The organization coming up from the Flash Wolves side is just far superior.
Well, they kind of half committed onto Zonda, right? And Flash Wolves punished them hard for it. Zonda just turned around and got a kill onto Samurai D, and from there it was simply easy numbers, right? 6v5. You're going to win. Flash Wolves still hardly having to commit ultimates, and now we're coming up to 85%. This is DeToNator's last shot, and ultimates are still coming up for Flash Wolves.
Oh, and Anakin gets taken out early into this fight. Pulse Bomb gets thrown out there as well. Doesn't find anything with that one. Bacon Jack won't be too worried now. Now Yoshiharu in an extremely bothersome spot. See ya, mate. Gets taken off the edge there. Great positioning coming out from Zhongi there, and this is just going to be disaster for DeToNator. It looks like they're not going to be able to find anything into this fight. They get themselves a little bit of a consolation kill, almost getting themselves the cap actually, but now Flash Wolves should be able to answer back into this one. No, they can't. There's no one there. Zhongi cannot stagger the point enough, and DeToNator keep this one alive.
Yeah, I mean, the fight went on for so long that the early death from DeToNator just allowed them to respawn in and get there. Now, they still committed a few ultimates here and there, Sound Barrier being the big one. They don't have any tools to go up against Flash Wolves, who not only get a pick at the start of this fight, but still have 4 ultimates, 2 of them being big DPS ults.
Now watch for Bacon Jack's position here, managing to get himself up in the back lines of DeToNator. It's going to be very easy for him to be the thorn in the side that they were looking for. Pressure being put onto him by Saihate, but that's not going to be enough. 4 kills there for Flash Wolves. Get themselves back from the cap. The overtime ticking down, and this is going to be Flash Wolves closing out the first stage.
Well, I mean, I think we've seen this story before. DeToNator take hold of the point early on. They get a bit of an advantage, but they don't utilize it. They don't stay in the lead. Flash Wolves just turn around and say, what if we can win a fight without using any ultimates? And then we get on the point, and it's basically like DeToNator were never there. it's like DeToNator never even won the first point, because that 20% that they had early on didn't even matter later on, right? When DeToNator eventually retook the point after another fight, which Flash Wolves I feel like kind of gave away, DeToNator still had a very long way to go, and Flash Wolves still had a big ultimate advantage. They could still come back in, and I mean, they were winning without ultimates before, so when they've got more than the enemy team, surely they're just going to come in and win.
I mean, when they tried to contest Zonda up on the high ground, they didn't even push him off there, and Zonda obviously got that return trade as well onto the Samurai D on the Winston there, so very easy for them. They've got to watch crossing this bridge here. Anything to stop Zonda from concussing them off, nothing indeed. And now this is when Flash Wolves are going to be getting in there. De La V under a lot of pressure. There is a trade coming out from Anakin on that McCree, but it's going to look like Flash Wolves are going to be able to force the issue here. And Realman with the Boopio coming through there, getting himself a double.
And this is going to allow Flash Wolves to push right forward up until this choke point, get a few more stagger kills if they can. And there it is. They get one, and they're just going to move back on, back to the point, back to the bridge where Zonda can hold it. Now, Zonda going down in that fight, you could see the way he was flying, just basically not even playing into the fact that the enemy has someone that can dual fire. Anakin on the ground can actually contest it. Zonda is not utilizing sightlines at all. It's just being completely out in the open. Anakin can punish that. He did in the last fight, but Flash Wolves, with the forces on the ground and in the sky, just managed to overrun them. DeToNator were just too cooped up on the bridge. And here they're taking a different approach, trying to nullify Zonda's effectiveness, where he has to get up in those tight spaces where Farah sometimes finds trouble staying alive.
Well, Anakin finds that shot there onto Zonda, and that's going to be an opening now for DeToNator. Hits the Deadeye as well now, seeing if he can get anything with this one. Managing to get himself a little lock there, misses that one there, so disaster now for DeToNator. They are going to be pushing in and right into the pulse bomb of Bacon Jack now. This is when DeToNator need to come up with a lot of kills, as they don't have much to work with on the ultimate side of things. It's going to be Samurai D finding himself a mech kill there, but Bacon Jack, we've seen him do this before. He's such an annoyance for the side of DeToNator here on this Tracer. They really do not have an answer for him right now. It is going to have to be Anakin, but he hasn't been able to find a sightline on him as he's too busy dealing with Zonda up in the air.
Yeah, Anakin's just too busy looking up at the sky to notice the Tracer running around on the ground. Now DeToNator still haven't capped the point, and ultimates are coming out for Flash Wolves. There's an angry monkey.
That's very good there, managing to take Anakin off this one. Flash Wolves doing all they can to stop DeToNator from getting this cap, but DeToNator do manage to find that one. Pulse bomb coming through. DeToNator finally looking to stabilize and get themselves control of this point now, but it's still just frantic play coming out from Flash Wolves. They do manage to pick themselves up just a couple of extra kills as Flash Wolves retreat there.
And the big thing is DeToNator won that fight even with an ultimate coming out from the Mercy. The Resurrect was there. It wasn't enough for Flash Wolves to swing it in their favor. We also saw Anakin was thrown off the edge, and they still managed to win. The sound barrier kept them alive for the longest time. Now Flash Wolves, they've got some things to work with, but they have to get so much mileage out of this pulse bomb. It has to get a kill.
Yeah, Bacon Jack looking to get crispy around the backside there, and it's going to be the pulse bomb cooking up a storm, taking down Samurai D early onto this one. Now Flash Wolves in a great position to take control of this point now, and indeed Zonda finds a couple of rockets. There we go. That's going to be the support down as well, so nothing Samurai D and Yoshiharu can do to hold on to this one. No Primal Rage up just yet, unless Samurai D can get in here very quickly. He does have it now, so there will be a bit of a stall coming out from him, so good stuff here to keep this one alive.
How much stall though? How much time did that actually buy them? About 5%.
Not even.
And then he says, you know what's better than getting 500 hit points worth of ultimate charge? Have double that. Here's 1,000 hit points. And now Flash Wolves are happy to take that. Now DeToNator, what have they got to work with? A self-destruct, usually doesn't get kills, used for zoning, and sometimes even just for getting back into the mech. And Deadeye, how often do you actually see Deadeye get a kill? Anakin has had much more effectiveness just shooting Zonda out of the sky. Deadeye is not going to be a huge tool in this fight. Now they can build up to the pulse bomb, and that's really the
Jongi's got them in the white room here with the Primal Rage. You've got to watch out for this one. Zonda unleashing a barrage there as well, but it's going to be K-Momo with that self-destruct. Just cleaning up these players here. Overtime is now indeed ticking down. Nothing on the side of DeToNator to work with. A generous pulse bomb, trying to find something for Saihate there. It's just Yoshiharu just keeping this one alive. Can Samurai D make it back in time? That's the real question right now. Indeed, he does manage to find a pulse bomb right in his face, but ticks it over very, very briefly. Overtime still alive right now, but this has surely got to be Flash Wolves picking up the second stage, and indeed it is.
DeToNator 0-2 down, still not looking like the team we saw last night against Fireball, just not getting the results. In this map, Gardens, they came in with a strategy and they were saying, okay, look, the enemy is going to run a fire. Zonda needs to be taken out of the sky, and to his credit, Anakin did just that. He contested Zonda out of the sky, but the rest of his team weren't able to storm the forces on the ground. And also, they weren't taking out Sinclair on the Mercy either. Occasionally, he got a res, and that was actually one of the fights that DeToNator won. So it's good that they're actually doing that, but at the same time, like, I don't think Real Mint was contested enough at all.
I mean, from what I saw there, DeToNator putting a lot of, I guess, emphasis on trying to take out Zonda, trying to really make him that priority target there. And instead, Sinclair getting a lot of time. Just even if he loses his Barrow there, isn't too worried. He has a lot of other targets to go with. And obviously, Bacon Jack on this Tracer has been such an issue for the side of DeToNator to deal with. But now Anakin on his Genji. Let's see if this is going to be the change that they were looking for.
I'm definitely impressed with Anakin's Genji quite often, but going up against Flash Wolves, I mean, they've got a lot of tools to deal with it. Zonda as well, a very fantastic Genji as well. I think he definitely performs a lot better. Now, DeToNator, they're getting even trades, but Flash Wolves are still starting to pull ahead here.
Well, DeToNator did make, I think, a better decision there, managing to take Sinclair out on the Zenyatta, but he should be able to get himself right back into this fight. And look at that right there. It was K-Momo, when all odds were against him, Sahate pressuring him, manages to find the Helix Rocket straight into him. And now DeToNator picking themselves up the first cap, have a lot to work with here, good positioning as well.
Ultimate's kind of spread out around DeToNator though. No one's actually that close to getting their ult up. Specifically Dragon Blade, it's only 60%. They're actually closest to Sound Barrier of all things. So if they can get to that, that's good. In fact, they're actually getting frag kills here, but Bacon Jack, he turns it around.
But Zonda now in an extreme spot of bother, managing to escape right there with that biotic grenade on him as well. Oh, Saihate, thank goodness, manages to find that kill onto him there. That would have been extremely disastrous there for the side of DeToNator if they didn't manage to pick that one up. But now Flash Wolves answering back with force here. They push themselves in. They should easily get this cap and really punishing DeToNator on that piece of overcommitment.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to go into contested just a little bit longer, but eventually it's going to go over back to Flash Wolves, well, 2 Flash Wolves for the first time. Now this time, DeToNator actually have ults, but because of how that first fight went, wasn't one-sided enough, and in fact, just the ultimates were spread out over DeToNator. They didn't have any real advantage in going in. They got 2 frags off the start, which I thought was really going to secure it for them, but Bacon Jack with a pulse bomb, much like how DeToNator get a pulse bomb here, should be enough for them to go in for a win.
Oh, Nanoblade into the Transcendence. Now, this is going to be very bad for Anakin. He actually finds that kill onto Zonda, so that is quite big there. They commit the Sound Barrier as well, so this is all in now for DeToNator. They do have the Primal Rage Lift to work with as well. It is going to be used by Samurai D. They're finding themselves some kills here. Nice reflect there coming in from Anakin as that Tactical Visor gets hit. So great shutdown now coming up from DeToNator, cleaning up the side of Flash Wolves. Going to be able to recap this one. This is great stuff for DeToNator.
DeToNator, they get the point, but what do they use to get it? They use so many of their ultimates. They've only got the self-destruct left, and Yoshiharu, I haven't seen him connect fantastic self-destruct kills, but Flash Wolves as well, they use a lot of ults during their fight. But Zonda, he's got that Dragon Blade. We've seen him use it to great effect. He needs to go in and get a lot of value out of it. Bacon Jack also has to do his job. He can't die during this fight. Flash Wolves, they need to take the point back.
Well, keep your eyes on Bacon Jack here. If he does manage to swindle his way around in the back lines, that's going to be what their side of Flash Wolves are looking for. Now, Anakin, he hasn't really caught Bacon Jack out here on the back lines. Finally now, he does get spotted out, but now Anakin in the great position to put the flank on for the side of DeToNator, but has no support with him now. Oh, Lucio just in time managing to have his back there. Now it's going to be a Diva as well to be able to defend him. It's going to be the Dragon Blade now coming in from Zonda. What can he find with it? It's going to be Doddle up on the support, but it's going to be Anakin able to answer with a support of his own. But Zonda has done so much damage here to push out the side of DeToNator, and this surely should be Flash Wolves capping this one back, and indeed, just in the nick of time, DeToNator get themselves all the way up to 96% though.
Back and forth, but DeToNator, they've only got to win one more fight to actually take this stage. They can do that, but look, Flash Wolves, they've used barely any ultimates, only the Dragon Blade during that. They still have the Tactical Visor. That's going to be the big one, because DeToNator have to use Dragon Blade, a Nanoblade combo, in fact, to get big effect, and Tactical Visor can shut that down.
Oh, and Doddle is dropping down low as well as Samurai D as well, and so that's going to be all they had to work with right there. There surely can't be DeToNator capping this one over as Flash Wolves pour onto the point, managed to definitely defend this one down. Going to have to be a retreat coming out now from Yoshiharu, or a death as well. That's even feeding them a little bit too much ultimate charge as well. Flash Wolves looking in a very strong position now to take this one out.
And still, they did not use their DPS ultimates, no Tactical Visor. That late death is going to be crucial. Now, Flash Wolves, they're running out of time. Sorry, DeToNator are running out of time. 80%, that's one good fight left for them to go, but they have built up a lot of their ultimates, but they need to get Pulse Bomb value here. De La V, he's going to have Sound Barrier. That should allow them to survive during the fight, and in fact, maybe even nullify a Pulse Bomb coming out from Bacon Jack. That's going to be the big one. Anakin also has to get good value, needs to find K-Momo.
Here comes the boost and the Dragon Blade straight into the Transcendence of Sinclair, but it is going to be Saihate, and managing to find that kill onto Realman. DeToNator are doing it. There goes K-Momo. He's taken out of this as well. Didn't get much out of his tactical visor in this one. And now Flash Wolves falling down here. Can DeToNator manage to continue the kills and the effectiveness they had in that last fight and push this one out? Because Flash Wolves should be able to get this one into overtime. 99%. Here we go. There is no overtime. No one from Flash Wolves is quick enough. And DeToNator picked themselves up their first stage. We're going to number 4.
And that final fight there, DeToNator executed that so well, right? They had Saihate. He found Real Mint, stuck the pulse bomb on him, and then no sound barrier at all. When you've got two teams going at it against each other with all their ultimates up pretty much, sound barriers are a really big thing. It nullifies a lot of ultimates, it keeps your team alive for a very long time. The fact that it wasn't even used, if Real Mint had actually just used it, he may have saved himself, but it doesn't even matter at this point. They just needed the sound barrier. That's all they needed, and because they didn't have that, it's just such a humongous advantage for DeToNator to go into that fight. They bring it back 1-2.
Yeah, great pick off there. Saihate really putting the team on his shoulders there with a nicely placed pulse bomb. Sinclair obviously putting in their great transcendence, but I mean, just the sheer power of DeToNator pushing over them was just too much to hold. Now Zonda going to go back on the soldier here, see if he can set up in a good position. Now Bacon Jack is looking to get control of this left side for the side of Flash Wolves, getting straight into the thick of things here, looking to do a decent amount of chip damage. Going to be forced back actually, so DeToNator probably coming out with a better position in this first fight here, but it's going to be all on who finds the first kill, and it will be Bacon Jack.
Oh, DeToNator still, this time, they're not able to take the early fight. Their composition's also a little bit different. Yoshiharu, instead of the soldier, he's on that diva, but hey, look at how that worked out for him. The second he's not turning around, blocking all these bullets, then Bacon Jack is going to be there picking up the kills early on. And as soon as they've got a numbers advantage, Flash Wolves are happy. They're very happy to pounce on an advantage like that to go and take the point. Now they're entrenched, they're ready to start defending, but still, they're not terribly close to a lot of ultimates, right? They're still a little, in fact, definitely ahead against DeToNator, but here's a fight where DeToNator can take it before ultimates actually come into it. But they need to take out K-Momo and Zonda before they can actually get their ults during the fight.
Well, they have a little bit to work with now as well. If Zonda does opt to get that high ground position, as you can see, they do go up there just to check it out, see if there's a Sly Soldier 76 sitting up there. But chip damage now going in both ways here, just seeing who can knock down any of these players. It's going to be Jongi actually taking out Dodoloff there on the side of DeToNator. And now Flash was slightly coming out ahead of this fight here. Anakin not too sure who he should be going for. They do get the cap though, but I don't think Flash Wolves are too bothered now. There is a sound barrier actually committed into this one as well. I think this is an absolutely huge snake now coming out from the side of DeToNator. Flash Wolves easily recap this one and are not too bothered about giving that cap up just before.
That's going to be punished so hard by Flash Wolves. I mean, sure, okay, they lost about 10% on the point, big deal, but now they're sitting ready to go. They won that fight without using any ultimates. Sound barrier used, you're right, that's a mistake, and Flash Wolves are just going to sit here and start just distributing their ults in the next few team fights. 60%, that's 2, maybe 3 of the very best team fights left for DeToNator, and they're taking a lot of time to set up, so really we're looking at 2. And so Flash Wolves, they can use like 3 ultimates per fight here.
Oh, Nano Boost now coming in, but again, straight into a Transcendence from Sinclair. Now watch K-Momo. Oh, he gets taken out, doesn't use the Dragon Blade here, so this has to be the fight that DeToNator win coming into this one. Double with the Dragon Blade, and now Anakin being pressured ever so slightly here. Sinclair should be dropping as well. Indeed, he gets taken out there. So now this is going to be all for DeToNator to pick this one up. Can Bacon Jack stagger this one long enough? He does have help from Zonda there as well. He's got that Biotic Field down on top of him, and Jongi as well right here to help him out. So this could be Flash Wolves biting back with force.
And that fight took so long to set up. It started going for a very long time, and Jongi, I mean, he's put to sleep, it doesn't really matter. But DeToNator, they're just coming back in. They know they don't have time to set up for another fight. They've got to go all in.
This is great play coming out from Flash Wolves here. You know, dropped a couple of players, but just only having 3 players left on the point, able to hold this one down. Overtime ticking down, and that's going to be it. Flash Wolves pick themselves up map number 1. Oh my goodness, it looked like DeToNator came in with a lot of strength there on stage number 3, looking a lot more composed, you know, a lot better macro play all round, I feel. But then what just happened in number 4 there? They just completely cooked it.
I mean, they bit back on the 3rd map. There's no doubt about that. They obviously took it, but Control Center, things seemed to fall apart. I mean, we saw them getting out-fragged. They made not the most optimal ultimate decision.
But we are going to be getting into King's Row, and it is going to be Flash Wolves on the defense first.
And Anakin on the Sombra for attack, right? So it doesn't really matter what strategy DeToNator go for, they have to deal with Zonda. They have to go up and get him. And you know, you can go for this big EMP play on the ground, breaking shields, breaking, you know, hacking everyone so they don't have any mobility at all, and just winning a team fight or pure momentum that way. Zonda is still going to be up there shooting your dudes from the high ground. You need to answer him. Send Yoshiharu up there. Send Samurai D as well. Take him out and then jump down. Do whatever you need to do to get him down.
good pickup here from Anakin has actually caught Bacon Jack on the Tracer now. Will he win that 1v1 duel? Not today. Obviously, Bacon Jack being an extremely skilled player here, but now
he has
the
EMP.
is up, and this is all going to be on how Anakin is going to place this EMP. If he gets a big one, this is going to be when DeToNator can make this push in. I don't think this is going to hit enough players here. This is when Flash Wolves can really answer back into this one. And there it is, Bacon Jack taking Saihate as they push through the gates now. And DeToNator need to come up with some kills extremely fast if they want to keep this fight alive. And now Flash Wolves really coming out on top of this engagement. And that's going to thwart everything DeToNator can throw at them right now. Nothing contesting Zonda up on the high ground. What was that Flash Wolves' great counterplay?
Even with Zonda on the high ground, I still think DeToNator were just losing that fight on the ground, right? They did not take advantage of the EMP well enough. They hadn't forced Flash Wolves back further enough. They were still in a good enough position. So now, DeToNator are going to be playing on the back foot. They have to swap off the Sombra. They don't have any momentum at all. Flash Wolves, it's going to be similar to what we saw in Lijiang Tower. They're going to start winning fights without even using ultimates, and then suddenly fights are going DeToNator's way, and Flash Wolves says, well, let's pull out from our bank of 6 ultimates and try and win the fight that way. But Zonda, he's finally being contested.
Look at that, though. They've thrown almost 3 players up here, and who actually gets the kills now? It comes out, it's going to be Flash Wolves. Everything was thrown at Zonda just then, and now it was just K-Momo on the ground just cleaning everybody up there. Now he's got a Dragon Blade to work with. I mean, look at everything that Flash Wolves have in the bank now as DeToNator have to keep throwing bodies on another dry push at the side of Flash Wolves.
And DeToNator still don't have any ultimates. They still haven't reached a single one. Flash Wolves during that fight, Bacon Jack, do you want to throw out a pulse bomb? You'll probably have it up by the next fight. Oh yeah, sure mate. And that's how they won that fight. So now Flash Wolves still have so many powerful ultimates to go with. They've got Tactical Visor, they've got Dragon Blade. That's just going to be the ultimate team-winning fights here against a team that doesn't have a single ultimate.
Well, DeToNator opting for a new route coming through here. Now they're in the defender's position, but still nobody has pushed Zonda off that high ground just yet. It is going to be Bacon Jack being the thorn in Saihate's side here. Doesn't even manage to get that tactical visor up before Zonda hits his own and come up the back line there, cleaning up the side of DeToNator, and there is nobody left. Complete team wipe, and all they use in that one is a tactical visor. 1 minute left. What can you do, DeToNator?
DeToNator 1 minute left, and this is the first team fight that they're looking at actually having ultimates available for. Tactical Visor, yeah, okay, that's a big one. And there's no Zonda to actually contest you. K-Momo, though, has Dragon Blade. If he gets up in Saihate's face and better actually kills him, then that's the biggest thing that DeToNator have going for them to win this fight here. Getting a pick off right off the bat is a good start.
And Dodoloff taken down early into this one. I mean, they really needed the Discord orb up there as well. Transcendence was nearly going for him as well. Now K-Momo just hitting the Dragon Blade there. Anything else being committed from the side of Flash Wolves? What do they need? I mean, Sinclair came through with an ultimate of his own there, but this is where DeToNator are now managing to find themselves some kills. Will Realman even use that sound barrier?
He's still running back.
Yet. He needs to scoot his way back down the streets here, but this should be DeToNator actually picking themselves up the cap.
So DeToNator getting a kill right at the start was great for them, because when you're up against a team that has so many ultimates, killing anyone denies an ult from that team fight. So, oh my god, Flash Wolves, they're still going to contest.
They managed to get themselves back in time, and there's Dodoloff's Transcendence now just in the nick of time for the side of DeToNator. Can they turn this one around? It looks like they can, but Bacon Jack still going to work up here, manages to find Dodoloff, still has that pulse bomb as well. See you later, Yoshiharu. Discord orb out as well. What can he do here? Doesn't even need to use the pulse bomb. Oh my goodness, can Flash Wolves hold this one down? It's looking like they can, but the players from DeToNator do have that respawners advantage. Should be able to get back there. No, they can't. What is going on here? No, it's going to be Samurai D back onto the point. Now Pulse Bomb comes through, doing good work with this one. Sound Barrier as well being committed from De La V. But here we go, Zonda still not being contested up here. Can he get himself up another Tactical Visor? No Biotic Field to keep him alive though.
They capped it. They finally capped
Somehow, Bacon Jack needed to get on the point there.
The Flash Wolves, they were backing off, playing almost like the point, didn't have an inch to go to finally get capped. Now they're still picking up kills here, so any momentum DeToNator are going to have is non-existent, right? So the Flash Wolves, they're going to push right up forward, right to this archway and just control that point there. They've got not a huge amount of ultimates to work with. They used a lot in that last final contest, but the ones that they do have are those DPS ults. Tactical Visor, Dragon Blade, those are the ones that are going to get them clean kills here. Anakin, he needs to get value out of his own Dragon Blade, and Flash Wolves, they're all stacking up in this high ground here.
Well, Zonda, the better old man there, takes Saihate out early into this fight, and now it's going to be Jongi jumping straight into this one. Tactical Visor being used. Good block out here coming in from Yoshiharu. Zonda not getting a lot of mileage out of this one, and now he's going to be contested by Anakin. Will he use the Dragon Blade here? Though I hope not. It's just Zonda being able to easily win that duel there with that biotic field to keep him alive through this one. Now watch Bacon Jack's position there as well. If the fight comes through the gate, he's going to easily be able to set up for that pulse bomb.
The big thing as well during that fight as well was that DeToNator didn't get anything on the payload here, and now they were just walking into another losing fight.
And now with Anakin getting taken out very early into this one, DeToNator shouldn't be able to find anything into this. Flashwolves should be able to just push them out the front door as they have to gonna have to reset this fight for another one. Saihate does find a little bit of a consolation kill there onto Bacon Jack though.
Consolation kill. I mean, Bacon Jack, he's Tracer. He's just going to blink back. One of the easiest champions to get back into the point, even with a long respawn. But here we go. Ultimates are being used.
Tactical Visor coming through now as well from Saihate. What can he find with it? But it's still Flashwolves coming up with the kills here. And now instantly pressured from Jongi, jumping straight onto his head. Back to the spawn he goes now. Dodoloff going to be taken out of this one as well. There's nothing he can do here as Zonda jumps all over him. And Jongi doing a good job here on this Winston, really controlling the tempo of these fights.
Oh, DeToNator, they committed everything they had into that fight, and there's only 30 seconds to, 20 seconds to go even, and this payload has not moved at all. Flashwolves have taken every single fight right on top of it, denying any movement every single time. Flashwolves, they just waited for DeToNator to use their own ultimates, and then Flashwolves say, all right, cool, we'll start using ours, we'll start winning the fight. And still, they've got ults left in the bank, they've got a pulse bomb, they've importantly got Jongi's primal rage.
Oh, Jongi does get taken down there, so that's going to be unfortunate for the side of Flashwolves. A little bit of a misplay coming out from him there, and now Flashwolves going to have to rethink their defensive strategy here. Bacon Jack looking to get around on the backside. We'll be looking to blink in there and drop the pulse bomb. Now Kart is moving with haste this time up the streets phase. Amakin has gotten extremely aggressive, managed to gain control of that high ground for the side of DeToNator. There comes a pulse bomb! Big double kill there for Bacon Jack, and that is going to be now extremely hard for DeToNator to work with. That sound barrier coming through, but a little bit too late here. Tactical Visor from Zonda just pushing these DeToNator players back down the streets, back home, and that's going to be DeToNator getting held here on streets phase.
Not the strongest performance from DeToNator, I've got to say. I mean, I'm actually really quite surprised they managed to take the point there, even on the first stage of King's Row. It was in overtime. Flashwolves had come back for a stellar defense, and even though DeToNator took the point, they'd still been losing the fight and were just suddenly held at the archway, and it took them, what, 4 fights to finally get the payload moving half an inch?
I mean, I'm going to be, I guess, a little bit brutal here. Take a little page out of the Avril book. It seems it just seemed like Flashwolves were kind of playing with a little dead animal there. Just poking it with a stick, because when Flashwolves were like, oh, we'll just give them the cap just so the game goes on a little bit longer and we can just kill them a little bit more. Because I think Bacon Jack really could have contested that point. I think he just tunnel visioned in on getting a kill just a little bit too early there when DeToNator did manage to get themselves the cap on the first point. And I mean, if he just contested that, that would have been an easy first hold, I think, for Flashwolves.
I mean, that is something that happens though. Tunnel vision can absolutely happen. You've got the point just barely about to cap, you're trying to defend it, but suddenly one of your teammates dies and you don't realize, oh no, we've got no one on the point. So I should be blinking onto it, but you don't have time to realize that. There's hectic communication, and I guarantee it, desperation moment. I mean, not really desperation, because it's still the first point. Flash was clearly in control for most of that map, but things like that happen. And while DeToNator weren't able to punish it, other teams might be. And we'll talk about this after the match, but Flashwolves have to absolutely demolish DeToNator to stand a chance against Blank later on.
Well, I'm expecting a very quick walkover now coming through from Flashwolves on their offense here. I mean, their defense really looked like they were enjoying themselves, I guess, taking the fight straight to DeToNator's front doorstep there. But it'll be, I guess, interesting to see what DeToNator can do on their defense now. Going to be Amakin on the Genji. Now Yoshiharu's going to need to come up big on this soldier.
Well, I kind of expect Flashwolves. Oh, okay, so they are going to stick with this team composition here with the Farah as well. Just basically bombard until you hit a few direct rocket hits, and then you can just send in the rest of your divers to clean up. Oh. And Farah just sets up perfectly for that sort of thing. It also will contest this high ground as well, but not early enough, it seems, as Yoshiharu picks up a kill, picks up 2.
Well, the triple DPS not working out too well there for the side of Flashwolves here, and as Avril mentioned earlier, their team maybe not set up for this kind of composition, and that is obviously going to be the first fight. Now thwarted by DeToNator. If they can manage to pick up a couple of these kills before the rest of Flash Wolves manage to get themselves back in there, but it's going to be Bacon Jack in a great little position around the hotel, can easily get himself into a flanking position here, and still no pressure being put up on Zonda just yet.
They've also swapped as well. It's Zonda now onto Soldier rather than Byron. That wasn't working. They can just simply send him up to that defensive position that Yoshiharu is. We've seen Soldiers do it before. They say, hey, that's a fantastic spot. I'd like to take it for myself. And they go up, but they're just going to dive straight onto the enemy team. Zonda's positioning is going to be pretty much crucial here.
Now Dodloff being taken out into this fight. Now Flash Wolves are getting things done here, managing to find the early kill onto one of the supports there for the side of DeToNator. Doesn't matter that Yoshiharu's up on the top, on the high ground there when the rest of his team are taken out. This is going to be Flash Wolves picking themselves up the cap very quickly. Now moving into the streets phase, should be able to roll with a little bit of momentum off this one.
They did have one swap. So they lost a little bit of momentum there, but they're still definitely ahead here. They've got a pulse bomb to work with, and we've seen so often Bacon Jack just gets so much value from it. They've already got one pick at the start, so this payload, it's guaranteed damage, guaranteed distance anyway. You can't really contest it there, but once they get up to this archway, Flash Wolves are just going to be in position. Look at DeToNator, they're just running away. They can't get into position here, so they're going to struggle to get the high ground. Flash Wolves are going to take advantage of this, push this payload up, and remember, it does not have to go very far. You just have to get it around that second corner, and suddenly Flash Wolves are going to be able to win. They've got a Dragon Blade to do that with.
Oh, here we go. The Dragon Blade coming through, and DeToNator, instead of running away, now take the fight straight to Flash Wolves up at the front gate there. They find themselves 3. No more than that, as Flash Wolves, very smart, managed to retreat almost instantly out of that as the ultimates came through from the side of the DeToNator.
Picking off Zonda at the end there, just going to buy them a little bit of extra time, but right now, DeToNator need every second they can get. 4 minutes are still to go on this point right now, and that's not a long time. That's a huge amount of time actually for Flash Wolves to push all the way around to the second corner. And remember, they might have lost that fight, but they didn't commit ultimates to it at all. They've still got so many to go with. They could probably win this fight right out here because remember, DeToNator used their Nanoblade combo. That's 2 ults down. Flash Wolves know they're in the lead.
Great positioning now coming up from Flash Wolves, getting themselves in a full team flanking position there. It's going to be Samurai D taken out very early into this one. Bacon Jack is going to commit the pulse bomb into the house. Doesn't find anything with it, but it is going to be able to buy them a lot of time. Transcendence now coming through for the side of Flash Wolves just to push them over the edge of this fight. Not much further left on the cart for them to push through. With 3 minutes 20 left here, looking very good for Flash Wolves. Can DeToNator even get themselves back and contest? Doesn't look like it as Zonda pushes so aggressively up here right into the face of Samurai D. Takes that 1v1 duel with him, forcing Samurai D to actually primal rage to try and get himself back onto the cart. Manages to contest for a split second there. It's a Genji trying to dash in, but no hope here, and Flash Wolves pick themselves up map number 2.
That was looking a little bit better for Flash Wolves. They're still, like I said earlier, a few mistakes here and there that better teams might actually be punishing, but because they're up against DeToNator, they make it look like no sweat. They're able to come in and just very easily defend King's Row. I mean, we almost saw a full hold, and due to a slight positioning error, maybe an overcommitment on the end in the final fight, and from there, Jongi.
Oh, well, so it is indeed going to be DeToNator on the attack first here, and it's going to be that defensive Sombra here, so a lot of health packs to work with for the side of Flash Wolves here.
Yeah, I mean, it's working as a de facto healer as well because they're only running the Lucio as well, but already 1 kill onto Bacon Jack. This should set them up. This is where DeToNator need to jump on that numbers advantage. They don't have a lot of time because Bacon Jack, he can still get back to this point pretty quickly after respawning.
Yeah, great read there from DeToNator coming out, and now they have control of this first balcony here. Going to be able to force Flash Wolves off this one. Can Saihate get the mech here? This is going to be very important. Sinclair now does find that kill onto Dodloff though, up in the back lines here, and Saihate actually being forced off here. Good sustain to keep this fight going along, not letting Saihate break into this one, and of course Bacon Jack wins that Tracer duel there. Now Flash Wolves looking to get a little bit of a looking to stabilize off the back of this here. They are getting themselves some cap time, DeToNator, but will it be anything important? It looks like not, as now Flash Wolves can easily just bait these players in and around. Anakin not on the point at all. He's going to be left alone now with no support. Dodloff though with a couple of balls into Bacon Jack's face there, but now Anakin left alone and hungry. He does have a couple of players to help him out here. But where are the rest of these DeToNator players? They're not getting any cap time, and they're letting Flash Wolves reset up.
Yeah, once Anakin gets up here, it becomes much harder to contest because of that, because of the flashbang. He can just shut down anyone that flies up to him and deal with him. But there's the EMP, is it enough?
And will this be able to chase out the rest of these players? DeToNator actually coming out with a lot of these kills there. Realment falling down, not enough damage here, but as it is Bacon Jack in a dream right now, does have a pulse bomb to work with as well. But Saihate actually being the one with the pulse bomb just a little bit earlier than Bacon Jack's one. Finds the kill there though. But look at the cap time now for DeToNator. They're getting all of this time on this. Will Flash Wolves even contest? No, they won't. They won't even bother, and we're going to point number 2.
And this Flash Wolves recognizing, all right, cool, we lost the point. We bought a fair amount of time. Usually, point 1 does go pretty quickly anyway. So DeToNator, they still get a pretty good result against Flash Wolves. I mean, we could have expected Flash Wolves to even full hold there, but now they've pulled back. And importantly, there's not a humongous ult advantage for DeToNator right now because Zonda has his Dragon Blade. He can actually come in here with a team wipe. Anakin, Deadeye, that can possibly shut down a bad Dragon Blade, but I don't expect Zonda to throw out a bad Dragon Blade. He's going to be in a great position.
Oh, pressure instantly onto Anakin there, forcing him back. Bacon Jack finding that pulse bomb kill there onto Dodloff. The Deadeye going to be committed. Unsure about that one from Anakin though, as he finds absolutely nothing with that. And now DeToNator are going to have to rethink this one. They had such a big ultimate advantage there, and wasting the Deadeye there is, I feel, a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, not sure if that was poor timing or just bad luck or some combination of the two, because Anakin throwing out the Deadeye, the second he loses his Zenyatta, the second his team has a numbers disadvantage, that's not the time to throw out Deadeye unless you're planning to swap. And seeing as okay, never mind, here it is. He finally made it back to the swap. He's on to the Sombra. So, DeToNator, you cheeky players, you coming in again. Now, this is going to take a little bit of setup, and this is going to be time that they're not using those 4 ultimates that they already have. They might go in to try and win a fight off it, but Sombra doesn't bring a lot until she gets the EMP.
Well, luckily she gets that EMP extremely quickly into this one. A lot of health packs as well on point number 2 to work with here. Now, Anakin getting himself in a nice flanking position, trying to just see where these Flash Wolves players are located. Looking to get himself a little bit of a hack there. That might even be what they're looking for just to start off the fight now. But again, Anakin getting just a translocate out now, straight onto Bacon Jack here. And now there comes the Pulse Bomb. Doesn't find anything. And not at all, as that self-destruct from K-Momo going to be able to take Samurai D into this fight. And DeToNator need to pull back now, I feel. The Transcendence being used when I think that the fight was already over, and indeed Dodloff being taken out here as well. Bacon Jack won't even need to use the Pulse Bomb here, and now Flash Wolves looking in a very strong spot.
DeToNator seem to be in 2 minds about this. So with the picking the Sombra, they're saying, okay, we've got to set up, try and build up that EMP, and then go in for a big win when we've all got our ultimate. And then they're doing things like throwing out the Transcendence in a fight that they've already lost. EMP is not ready yet. So DeToNator, yeah, again, they're just not looking as cohesive as Flash Wolves are right now, who are saying, let's just win fights using the minimal amount of ultimates as we can. I mean, they're doing just that. They're winning with frags. That self-destruct really was just to clean up the last few kills right now. DeToNator, again, they have to go in, set up for this EMP, and now it's finally close, but they won't have a Transcendence to work with. They won't have a Pulse Bomb. Bacon Jack, he's been consistently sticking those Pulse Bombs on, getting a kill, and securing his team a win.
Well, Yoshiharu's going to need to hit a big tack visor here. Zonda does have the Dragon Blade up, so nice little piece of nice ultimate to work to counteract that out if he does time it correctly here. And again, just looking for that chip damage now. Finally, this EMP is going to be up. This should be win. They look to get in on this fight now. There it comes. There comes a Translocator blocked out by the shield. EMP comes through. Doesn't hit enough of these players. They are extremely low there. Bacon Jack, though, does take Samurai D down in the back lines, but DeToNator now with that player advantage. If they can manage to stagger out these ultimates enough, they might be able to get themselves some good cap time here. They get it about halfway, but now the Dragon Blade from Zonda, looking to see what he can find with this. Gets 1, gets 2, looks for a 3rd onto Dodloff, finds it, looks for a 4th here as well, and he definitely gets this one. Zonda holding down this defense by himself.
Zonda coming in with a big Dragon Blade, saving them there as well. The sound barrier being a big factor in winning that fight. DeToNator, they threw out the EMP, but Flash Wolves are backed off enough. And again, it wasn't the most crucial targets getting hacked there. So DeToNator, they can be happy with that result, I suppose. They got 1/3 of the points, so eventually they can move in to get a little bit more, but still they're running low on ultimates. They've swapped over onto Genji now, just swapping the composition up quite a lot. They're going to have to wait quite a long time to build up these ultimates, but with only 2 minutes to go, if they're only going for 1/3 of the point with every fight they win, they're not going to have enough time to get a full cap here.
Yeah, this is not looking good for DeToNator now. Flash Wolves should be able to cycle through some of these ultimates here. Bacon Jack getting close to his Pulse Bomb, and I mean, that's all they're going to really need into this. And obviously, oh, there we go. Bacon Jack doesn't even need a Pulse Bomb as he finds Dodloff there. De La V dropping down as well. Zonda picking himself up a pair. And the rest of Flash Wolves now just pouncing on the remaining DeToNator players, looking to get extremely frisky right up into their faces and catch them as they try to retreat there.
Flash Wolves are just punishing DeToNator every time they're out of position, going in for kills. Bacon Jack is just constantly on their heels, picking up kills. You're talking about, oh, you know, Pulse Bomb, that's going to be the one that gets him a kill. He doesn't need Pulse Bomb right now. He can still pick up kills. It's on the back line of DeToNator, specifically Dotoloff, on that immobile Zenyatta, to be aware of where Bacon Jack is. If suddenly he sees someone blinking around him, he needs to be communicating that to his team, making sure they're ready to back him up. They've got Yoshiharu to do that, and they're swapping up again. Saihate's over onto the Pharah. There's not going to be a lot of ultimates used in this 1 minute to go fight.
And yeah, 4 there on the side of Flash Wolves. Zonda almost about to have another blade up as well. Bacon Jack does throw out the Pulse Bomb. Doesn't find anything with it just yet. Now good pressure coming up from Saihate. Straight up onto Sinclair in the back lines there. It is DeToNator getting themselves on the point, but Zonda going to be able to find a couple with this Dragon Blade, looking for another one through this. No pressure at all onto Zonda. As I say that, he does finally get taken down right there, but still the rest of these Flash Wolves players looking alive and healthy on the point, being able to definitely hold off this attack from the side of DeToNator. And it looks like we are just going to be getting back into the game in just a moment there, but Flash Wolves are looking very convincing now on the defense, being able to get a nice staggered kill here onto Yoshiharu as well. Just buying themselves just a little bit more time here. Yoshiharu doesn't know where to go at all. Should be trying to run himself off into the edge, not into the wall there.
They were body blocking. I don't think he could have actually jumped off the edge at that point. That was pretty good play by Flash Wolves, but looking at it now, that 10 seconds that they just bought off of that is huge, because DeToNator only had 50 seconds to go when they were doing that. Flash Wolves still building up their ultimates. They've swapped off the Genji as well. Zonda's now onto Soldier, just a whole lot more consistent during these fights. It's also going to throw a bit of a curveball to DeToNator, who've got to come in with a Dragon Blade, no Nano Boost to work with. That's their only tool right now. That's got to be their big team wipe. They've got to make the most of it.
Well, a Genji in a dream, it seems, as they try to push their way into probably the last fight of the match. Here it goes straight onto Zonda. Very good work there. That sound barrier, though, coming in for the side of Flash Wolves will be enough to keep a few of these players alive here. Jongi answering back, taking down the support there on the side of DeToNator. Now that Transcendence for the side of Flash Wolves as well, just to push these last few players alive. Self-destruct coming through as well, just to buy them a little bit more time here on this point. And Yoshiharu, they didn't find any kills. Now Flash Wolves just cleaning up the rest of DeToNator here, and Flash Wolves are going to be able to hold this one down before point number 2.
So about 50% on point 2 for DeToNator. I've got to say that's actually probably a better result than we've been expecting. And going into this map, going into the series even, we were saying how Flash Wolves have to demolish DeToNator if they want to look like they can stand a chance against Blank, who still, even after they lost last night, are top of the table. And Flash Wolves coming up against them, they've got to have a good showing against DeToNator. DeToNator not only capping the first point, but also getting 50% of the point on Volskaya Industries that's not getting demolished. Now, a lot of teams will eventually get that cap, but still, we have actually seen point 2 defended before, so I've got to say, maybe Flash Wolves could have played that defense a little bit better, but at the same time, DeToNator still pulling out quite a lot of stops, especially on their first point attack. I did actually like that.
I mean, there's, I guess, a little bit of sloppy play coming out from DeToNator as well. Like, I think they had every chance to actually get that cap onto point number 2. Not saying that Flash Wolves played anything really super badly into that one. You know, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any sort of huge misplays coming out from them. Just DeToNator finding a little bit of openings in regards to their offense there. But I mean, I guess if they did a little bit more with that EMP play there, the trades coming out from Flash Wolves were really good in that situation. I just think they could have got maybe a little bit more mileage out of that one time they had almost 6 ultimates sort of stacked up for their side. That's when they really needed to make that push in there. They got themselves a little bit of percentage there, but I mean, they really might have been able to cap that one over with just a little bit more, I guess, usage out of the support ultimates.
Well, see how DeToNator do on the defense here, whether they do run a Sombra, as we saw Flash Wolves run the first point. But DeToNator, I mean, we've definitely seen them like to run the Sombra, but defense this time, it's not going to be a go. They're going to run just pretty standard dive composition. This means they have to get aggressive onto Flash Wolves. As soon as they see Flash Wolves trying to get into position, it needs to be DeToNator on the offensive, needs to punish them for their positioning. However, Flash Wolves running a very similar composition. In fact, pretty much mirrored, the only difference between being the Ana and the Zenyatta. So yeah, as soon as Flash Wolves look like they're getting into position, DeToNator need to find the weak points of engagement and jump on them as soon as possible. Find those tight spaces where they can get Samurai D a huge amount of cleave damage. Anakin can just slash through all of them. But look, Flash Wolves already moving up to that high ground.
Oh, DeLaV getting caught with his pants down right there, dropping already out of this fight without the rest of his team around him, and now Flash Wolves looking to clean up the rest of these DeToNator players now as they're completely split out. Dottoloff has no one to help him out there. What is going on here? Anakin finding himself a couple of trades now, but he will be instantly pressured by Jongi, getting taken down there as well. And now Flash Wolves going to be getting this first cap extremely quickly unless DeToNator can move with extreme haste back to this point now.
There's no way DeToNator make it back to this point to realistically contest this Flash Wolves unless DeToNator actually get at least one more kill here, which it doesn't look like it's going to happen. DeToNator are going to have to back off and try and get back to the point. Now, they could have actually not had a huge snowball coming at them on point 2 if they'd backed off a little bit earlier, but Flash Wolves have just got basically double the kills that they could have been looking at. Moving on to point 2, now Flash Wolves definitely in the lead in terms of ultimates. They've got a sound barrier, which is a big one going into it. But we talked about those 2 trade backs that Anakin got during that fight. That's enough to get his Dragon Blade. That might be enough to actually win the fight here. But at the same time, when Flash Wolves are coming in with a sound barrier, that's enough for his team to stay alive during Anakin's Dragon Blade that it might not even matter. And so Anakin, perhaps he needs to recognize this. Never mind, he's going in anyway.
He goes straight in there, and if they take him down, which indeed they do, that's going to be huge for Flash Wolves. Now is their moment. They need to push in right now. They've got all these ultimates to work with there. It's going to be Samurai D hitting the Primal Rage. There comes the Pulse Bomb out from Saihate. He doesn't find anything. Will he get taken down? Not just yet, but a couple of his teammates will. And now Zonda and his mate Jongi just pushing onto the point. Look at this, 6 ultimates in hand as well. And Flash Wolves playing this off ends perfectly right now. The Dragon Blade just wiping up DeLaV as he tries to get in there and contest. Now, all the players here on the point just capping. Jongi's sleeping on the job. He's not too worried about that one. Samurai D won't be long for this world here. And that's going to be all she wrote there. Flash Wolves just picking that one up very cleanly, taking out the series 3-0.